Well, hello everyone, and welcome to my first of hopefully many free coaching sessions. I like to call myself a consistency coach, and that's what I'm here to share with all of you today. So if you are live, say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're coming in from, and if you're catching the recording, I'm so happy that you're taking some time to invest in your business and yourself. And my goal today is to help add value, stack some skills, maybe form some skills for you that are going to help you become more consistent in your business on the activities that are going to help you move the business forward. So just a little bit about me. My name is Kim. I've been in the industry for well over a decade. Actually next month is my anniversary in the industry of 14 years. So this business and this industry, I absolutely love it. It's afforded me a lot of choices. So just a little bit background, I was in um, traditional corporate job. I was in high tech, was a high tech recruiter and helped, software companies find talent. And my boys were 7 and 9 at the time where I just didn't see myself in that industry for another 15 to 20 years. I wasn't the mom that I wanted to be. I was more stressed out. Things were rushed. I felt like I was missing out on the things that I didn't want to miss out on. And I was really hungry for that time, freedom, and flexibility. And I remember very vividly, June of 2009, the sitter came over to watch the boys. It's the summer. I'm like rushing around to get out of the house and, sat in the long commute and got to the office and just went through the motions of my morning. And I remember getting a text late morning that said, "I hope you're having a great morning. We just shot hoops. We're about to go in the pool." And it was a picture of the sitter with my two boys. And it literally it was like somebody punched me right in the stomach and was just like, all right, enough. And I literally drove home white knuckled that night. And I just said, please, please, please put something in my path that will allow me to be home with my boys and and have a thriving income. I was earning very good money in my corporate job. And I liked that. I liked having something of my own. I liked to work, but I didn't want it to compromise how I wanted to show up as a mom. So that's sort of how I got into network marketing. And one of the things that I brought to network marketing with me was this strong skill set of consistency and doing the right activities and doing them at a level that was going to help me get to where I wanted to go. And that's what I want to teach you through this free coaching series. Now, many of you have either worked with me in the past. Maybe you're one of my current students. Maybe we've worked together through team before. So some of this stuff, maybe some stuff that you've heard before, some of you are going to be hearing it for the first time. I want to encourage you. If you have heard this, some of these concepts and some of these things I'm going to teach and share with you today, I want you to hear them in the learn to teach, right? So I want you to absorb it and write down some notes of things that you might be like, "Ooh, my team could use that. Oh yeah, I'm doing that, but I'm not necessarily teaching it." Or I like that. I like this. Like that's sort of how I've been able to, you know, be a six-figure earner in this industry for many years, right? It's really right when I got into it, a couple of years into it, because of the consistency, I was able to build that six-figure business and have built upon that over the last decade. And the biggest priceless part, you guys, is it has afforded me to create the lifestyle that I've wanted in terms of being the best snack lady and Uber driver that I wanted to be for those boys. I chased them around the country, going to all the tournaments. I didn't have to ask a boss for the time off. So like all the things that this vehicle, this opportunity, this business has afforded me to be able to do this. And I want to help you create that as well. So we're going to cover 5 areas, and those are the areas that I put, that I shared with you prior to doing this. We're going to talk about helping you really gain a clear strategy around your goals, and some key systems that are going to be able to support that. We're going to talk about time management today. We can never talk about time management enough because I think it's something that is constantly pulling at us, right? Our time is being constantly, grabbed by different other things, shiny objects. Who's guilty of chasing a shiny object out there when it comes to your business, right? I'm going to put my hand up high on that one. We're going to talk about how you can really evaluate whether something makes sense for you to add into your business, because there's definitely always growth in terms of marketing and strategy and efficiencies that make sense. But there's also some shiny objects that can take us away from these key activities that move your business forward. We're going to talk about things that might be holding you back in terms of lack of patience. And then we're going to talk about, and I know a few of you share this with, as we were getting to know each other, we're going to share some things of how you can get out of overwhelm and stay in productivity and help your mindset stay in the gains, right? And not that frenzy. So one of the things that I want to touch on first, because in some of my videos that I've been doing to just share this, why I decided to do this sort of free coaching series is I've been a sort of frustrated leader sitting on the back in the sidelines. I don't do well on the sidelines. I like to be in the game. So I've been sort of on the sidelines, and I've been thinking about all the trainers out there that have mad skills, great skills, and very high respect for them all, but it's been really focused on marketing, and more marketing. And it's been super pulled away from building relationships, asking good questions.
Kim Vanderheisen is doing her.
Mute everybody out as you get on. And so marketing is very important, but I'm going to share with you ways that you're going to be able to use marketing to really complement your business and get you into a lot of good conversations, and really for it to be parallel with the other side of your house, which is prospecting, right? So we have marketing and prospecting. I'm sure you've all heard this before. What I've seen as a coach in this industry now for 2 years is that so many people are focused a lot of their time on marketing, and they're letting the other like super high payoff activities of your reach outs, of making new friends, of nurturing, of getting into conversations, of following up some more. That's been pushed to the side. And it's like, I've got to do the reel, I've got to do the story, I've got to learn TikTok, yes, that's important, but not if this is going to be put to the side. So that's really what we're going to focus on this first series. And then we're going to stack some skills, because I love marketing. I've already done my marketing for the day. I've already also done some reach outs. So I'm not saying that marketing isn't important. What I'm saying is it can't be marketing without prospecting, unless you're listening to this and you're like, but Kim, I can put out a post and get 10 DMs right away in my inbox. Cool. Then you've got your marketing honed in. Keep doing what you're doing, as long as you're getting into conversations, because you guys have all heard this one before as well. The person who has the most conversations wins, right? So like, we need to make sure that we're getting in enough conversations. And if your marketing isn't getting you in enough conversations, then you need to just make it up in proactive reach outs, also known as prospecting. Okay. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately. I'm in a season of personal growth. I think when things shift and change, and it gets a little more, I don't like this word, but I'm going to use it. It gets a little more challenging. I definitely fill myself up with more personal development so that I can keep myself high vibe and focused. So I've been listening to some Ed Milet. If you haven't been exposed to him yet, I would love to get you exposed to him, because he is an incredible high performance coach. So if you want to keep your mindset on performance and showing up and doing what you need to do to move your business forward, he's a great person to talk to. My focus today for all of you is I want to really, I have a DMO that I call Bucket for Bucks. You have hopefully received that in your email. I actually updated it. It looks like this. I will get this out to everyone, we'll get this into your hands. But the whole idea is that we want to be focused on the activity, not the results. And so in one of Ed's podcasts, he talked about winners keep making deposits. Winners keep making deposits. So what does that mean in your world? In your world, is that every single day you're filling your bucket for bucks, right? Because what I teach is this pipeline, that if you don't have enough new conversations going in, you're not going to have enough deposits that they spill over into people looking at videos and people that are checking out your product, service, or opportunity. If you don't have enough people checking out your product, service, and opportunity, You don't get the new customers coming in or the new teammates coming in. You don't nurture those customers and or new teammates. You don't get the raving fan customers or the distributors with goals. So all of these areas fill into another, and we need to be focused on all of them, because what can happen and what I see so often happen is that, especially someone that might be new in team development, you get one or two new teammates, and what happens, and you go right into the, serving those two teammates to try to do the best that you can. And then you forget to do all the other things. And so I want to make sure that we have some systems in place for you so that you can plug people in. And it's like the concept is they move, you move, when we're taking people from being a new teammate to a teammate with goals. So I just want you to really buy into that winners are continuing to make deposits. And then we talked about, being focused on the activity and not the results. You can control how many people you reach out to every day. You can control how many follow-ups you do. You can control how you serve your customers with adding more value and making sure they have a good experience. Those are things that you can control. You can't necessarily control how many hands are going to get raised from one of your stories or one of your posts. Now, there's things that you can do, right? You can warm up your algorithm. You can take the likes to leads. And we'll talk a little bit about that probably in the second session, because this is going to go by fast. But let's start off with the first topic of just setting that clear goal and strategy. We've heard it all before. It's hard to hit a target that you don't see. So I would really suggest, and I want to talk about, there's a lot of different types of goals you can have in this business. It can be a financial goal. It can be a volume goal. It can be a rank goal. Those are all great goals to have. But the goals that I want to talk about today is I want you to have a clear activity goal, right? And on that bucket for bucks form, I've given some suggestions of a business that would move forward with some upward progress, but it's not going to move the dial super high, right? On some of these suggested numbers I give. This is something that I can either work with you individually on, or that you can kind of gauge. And that's why I love to track as well, because if you start tracking your activity for like a month and you end your month and you're like, and it's not results based, but let's just say if you're kind of brand new starting out, some of you are, I know are not, I know some of you are, are in a lot of activity. But if you find that yourself at the end of the month that you've got a lot of conversations going, tons of follow-ups, then you can be like, oh, cool. Okay, I did 5 reach outs a day for new people, and that got me in a lot of things. So I need to keep doing that. But if you find yourself that you're only in like 2 or 3 conversations for the product, your product, service, and or opportunity, you might need to amp up the number of people that you're reaching out to proactively. So does that make sense? Like, the tracking piece is so important, because you can't, it's an analytic. You can't really make changes in your DMO or where you're putting your time, because we're going to talk about time management. You can't make shifts and tweaks to that unless you're tracking. So that kind of goes into like the first system. I am not tied to whether you like my DMO or not. I really don't care. But what I would suggest is find something that speaks to you. Now, this document that I shared with you is absolutely able to be tweaked and changed. So here's just like a format that you can use. I had a coaching student I was working with yesterday, and they were like, you know what, I needed to have my personal development time in the morning on this, because that's important for them to start the day. So he tweaked it that he had his morning routine on there too. So you can tweak this, but I want to make sure that you have what you're doing. You can have your personal development there, but I want to make sure that you have your prospecting and your marketing, and you have that dialed in to what's going to support you reaching your ultimate goals of whatever, like I said, whatever that might be, whether it's financial, rank, or volume. All right, so once you've got your goals in place, then it's the time management piece. If I spoke to each one of you individually, you might set this up a little different. You have to find the rhythm that works for you. I'm a huge fan of time blocking. So what does time blocking mean? Time blocking means that like each day you've carved out specific time. So here's what I want to back up with. I honor that most people are doing this business alongside a very full life. Now, whether that's alongside a career, whether it's alongside a part-time work, whether that's alongside a full family life, an at-home parent, whatever it might be, it's typically started alongside. So it's really important to make sure that you carve out time and that you really stick to it. It's like the non-negotiable. Remember, winners make deposits. Winners don't say, oh, it's okay that I didn't do that today. I'll just do it tomorrow. And guess what happens tomorrow? I don't know, just all the things. And we're going to get into maybe why we push things off as well. But the time management piece is cool. So you could do time blocking could be one thing. And the way that you time block, you could time block it to the activity. Here's something that I've seen a lot. And if you find yourself in this, I would challenge you to tweak your DMO. I find so many people that I coach and that are on my team, they do their marketing first and then they do their prospecting second. If you find yourself often not doing your prospecting numbers, proactive reach outs for new people, follow-ups, customer care, if you find yourself not doing the level that you need to do because your time got away from you, that needs to be done first before marketing. Okay, that could be a simple tweak so that you make sure that you're making deposits, high, really meaningful deposits in your business every day. And again, marketing is important. I want to touch on this whole marketing thing with prospecting, this concept that I learned like 4 years ago that changed the way that I approach my marketing. Like I said, I've been in this for 14 years. I've had what I consider a pretty solid level of success in the industry. I'm not an influencer. I'm an influencer within my small community of people. But like I said, I don't put up a post and get like 20 DMs in my inbox. I'll get one here or there too. Like I'll get some trickling, but here's where my business continues to grow with new customers, new team, customers that stay, team that have goals, is because it's this whole idea of all eyes are on me. And I really want you to write that concept down, all eyes on you, so that when you're doing your social media, whether it's on the platforms that you're using, whether it's on an email, whether it's on your text campaign, whatever it is like that you're putting out content, I want you to know that people are watching you and don't check your gauges. Again, anyone else guilty of being like, gosh, that post was so good. Why did I only get 2 likes? Like, I only got 100 views. And like, let's face it, you guys, if you can do a reel and get 100 views, that's like you like did an event and you had 100 people listening to what you had to say. It's really good, right? But I think so often we do our marketing and we check our gauges and we get so caught up in. Now, if you're looking at we'll call them gauges again. If you're looking at the views and the likes and all that more as an analytic, then absolutely do it. But if you're doing it to like beat yourself up or to like be in lack, we got to tweak that mindset, right? So if you're looking at like, wow, that landed really well with my audience, or, because there's good analytics, whether time of day or I don't really get into any of that. For me, I just was like, I'm going to put out some value. Okay, so then with the marketing as well, let's stay on this all eyes on you concept because it ties really into the marketing and the prospecting. There's a lot of great trainings out there for people that are very skilled in social media. For me, what works for me, because I've done the whole get super niche. I've done the whole like have 5 days of things that you like to talk about, and like I've done it all because I love to learn and I'm super teachable, and I want to get more effective with my social media. But what has worked really well for me is that whenever I put content out there, I want to solve problems and I want to add value. And so like, I know who I am. I know the impact that I want to have on helping other women create, additional income to be financially fit. I know that I want to help more moms have what I had, that way they can be at home with their kids and have a thriving income. Like, I know how I want to show, I know the problems I want to solve in that area. I know from what I share, for my products and services, how I want to add value, the problems I'm solving. So if you don't have a really clear understanding of that, that's like an awesome exercise for you to do right away. Is like list out all the problems that you solve, list out all the benefits that your product, service, or opportunity have. And there's your content that you can show up authentically as you. All right, so we've got this, the whole eyes on you concept is that I want you to be consistent enough with your marketing so that when you're in the DMs and you're asking questions and you're connecting with people, and we'll talk about a little of those strategies now. That's probably gonna be a little bit more part 2 about like the, what do you say on follow-up number 2 to follow-up number 10 to follow-up number 20? Yes, I follow up with people 20 times before they maybe have made a decision. And yes, I get a lot of people buying products and joining my team after a 20 touch, and it never feels icky or gross because again, it's what's in it for them. So the whole all eyes on you is that as you're getting into DMs and as you're communicating with people and building those relationships and adding value and following up with what's in it for them, most oftentimes you're going to hear, and I'd really love to hear as you really dive into this, if this starts to happen with you, which I know it will, you'll start to hear people say, oh, wow, is that the stuff, Kim, you've been talking about? Or I've been watching you for a while and the timing's right now. I see head shaking already, right? So we know that people are watching, and we know that if we just show up with that idea that we're going to add value, solve problems, add benefit, when we get into our prospecting and we're super consistent with that, whatever your area of expertise is, because we have lots of different products and services and industries, I want your community to think of you when they think of whatever you share, right? I don't want you to be the one that touched the first or the second time and then you went silent on social or you didn't get into people's DM and then all of a sudden Susie over here is super visible and then they go with Susie because that's who they were seeing, right? So that's the whole all eyes on you. Okay, so let's now get into the shiny objects. I'm going to kind of fly through these next because it's time. I knew it was going to go by so fast and I want to make sure we have time for you all to have questions. I learned a phrase from one of my good friends who is a yoga guru, and she's into mindset and she's meditation and all that. But she shared something with me many, many years ago, which is, Kim, keep your eyes on your own mat, right? Because even for me, when I was doing yoga, I'm competitive at nature, and so like yoga for me is like I'd be watching everybody else, and I'm like, oh, that pose, like I should be doing that. Like my body had no right to be doing the pose that they were in, but I was like, my eyes weren't on my own practice. They were looking at what everybody else was doing in class. And so I really want to make sure that you just have at least an awareness that you don't chase shiny objects, especially when it comes to this industry, because there's constantly and this is where a little of my frustration came, is there's constantly people saying like, do this, or this is going to 10x your business, or do this and you're going to earn your $10,000 in a week. Like, just, I'm like, and guilty, guys. Like I see it too. And sometimes I'm like, I guess if they're doing it, then that means like, and then I don't do it anymore because I've learned anytime that I really go off and I love to evolve my business. I'm much more consistent with my email marketing now. That's really served me well. I'm getting into another platform now because I feel like my platform of choice is Facebook. I do Instagram because it's just easy, but like I've gotten into another platform now because I feel like I'm a well-oiled machine. So I'll try new things, but what I want you to try to avoid is that shiny object of thinking whatever the quick fix is or whatever look people are like, just be cautious that it doesn't take you away from this of building relationships, talking to people, asking people if they're open and interested in taking a look, following up. As long as it doesn't take away from that piece, just be careful of chasing those shiny objects. Lack of patience as well. I think that this is also something that can sometimes hold people back. When you are super consistent, I have this analogy that I've used, and if you've heard it before, it's okay. Hear it again so that you can teach it because it's really a powerful visual, but it's the popcorn analogy, right? So if you want to go make popcorn, you like walk over to the stove, you get your pan out. You're not eating popcorn instantly, right? You put the pan on and you put your oil in. The oil needs to get hot. So it takes a few minutes for that. I want you to think of the turning up of the oil of you getting into conversations, of you doing your follow-ups, right? You're putting the heat on your business. What happens with this lack of patience is that I see a lot of people not buying into that I'm going to do this until I'm going to do this activity until, and the consistency will be for maybe 2 or 3 days of the reach outs that you really, that will really serve your business to get to where you want to go. So let's just say it's 10 reach outs a day, right? For new conversations, and it's 10 reach outs to do your follow-ups and maybe nurture some customers. I see people that have come to me like, Kim, I did it for a week and I just, I didn't do it. I couldn't do it the next day and the next day because whatever life had, like, there's just reasons why they put their business down. It's really because they didn't get the results that they thought that they should have after a week. Right. And I'm like, this is another thing that Ed Milet just strengthened for me is, and then I knew this from my recruiting days of because that was also sales cycle. It's 100% commission. I would work with engineers. I would help them find jobs in other companies. My sales cycles there was also 60 to 90 days of ramping things up and then seeing it just be consistent. And I knew how many people that I wanted to help find jobs to earn the income that I wanted to earn. And that's what has served me so well in this industry. I know how many people I need to be reaching out to on a weekly, monthly basis in order for me to get to where I want to go for the amount of people that I want to be ordering, or the people I want to be serving, or, the team side of it as well. So just, again, just be aware and catch yourself if you ever find like, all right, I'm going to try this bucket for buck strategy. I'm going to try this DMO that's really structured and give it 2 weeks. It's like, no, give it 90 days and see what happens, right? Give it that full cycle of activity. And then in terms of like the burnout and overwhelm, and I'll just sort of touch on this and then we'll get right into the bucket for bucks and just make sure that you have what you need to like move forward for this session. And then I'll give you the date for the next one. Another thing that so overwhelm, this DMO tracker will help remove a lot of the overwhelm because you'll know exactly what you need to do to move your business forward. I'm telling you, if you follow these activities, this is like nothing rocket science that I created. This is just industry standard, the activity that will bring you more conversations, and the more people you're talking to, the more you'll have people buying your products and service or joining your team. Anyone familiar with Jim Rohn? I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with Jim Rohn. Yeah. I had him on repeat if you haven't listened to him, it's How to Build Your Network Marketing Business. It's free on YouTube. How to Build Your Network Marketing Business with Jim Rohn. My kids could recite him. They were 7 and 9 when I started this. My kids could recite Jim Rohn because I literally had him on any little road trip that we had, whether we were an hour to the beach or going to a tournament, I'd like pop in some Jim Rohn. And the whole thing with him is like, talk to 10, get 1, talk to 10, get 1, get better at the skill. You talk to 10, you get 3, or talk to 10, get 2, talk to 10, get 2. And then you get really good at the skill and you talk to 10 and you get 3. And I think if you really buy into that and you focus on the activity, I think a lot of the overwhelm will settle in because you're so clear on what you need to do from an activity standpoint from day to day. And there's one other thing I wanted to talk about overwhelm, and then I have Jim Rohn in my head. If you watch him, you'll be like, oh, there it comes, the talk to 10, talk to 2, or talk to 10 to get 1, talk to 10 to get 2. This is what I wanted to share. And another book that I read recently that has transformed helping me stay out of overwhelm and even burnout is called Gap and Gain, The Gap and the Gain. If you need the name of the author, I'll get you. It's a blue book. We're moving, so you can see everything behind me is very like nothing on the wall. All my books are packed. Otherwise, I would show it to you. Here's the concept of it, though, is that making sure from a mindset piece that you're looking at things through a gain and not a gap. And I'm telling you, anything in life, you can switch that over to a gain. And so I really want you to, one of the things that I incorporated into my daily routine from him is every day at the end of the day, as my head's on the pillow and as I'm just winding down, I say 3 wins of the day. And these wins, you guys, can be anything. Like if you're like, I don't feel like I had a win and this one canceled and this one didn't get back, like you're just like, and the kids and the this and the, it's like, have the win for the day be that you have a nice soft pillow to sleep on. Like it can be anything, but 3 wins of the day. For me personally, I like to move my body every day. So I'm usually saying a win for the day is I did my whatever workout it was that I did. I do a business win, and then I do a lifestyle win, whether it's with my kids, my husband, my nutrition, whatever it might be. So those are just like, that just works for me. And then 3 things that you're grateful for. And that's a really good thing too, to help you with keeping your vibe as high as possible, is to stay in that gratitude and stay in the gain. And you might catch yourself too, now that you kind of even know this, if you catch yourself saying, well, I've talked to these people, like whatever it is, and you're in a gap, you're in like a frustration gap, quickly turn around and just get yourself in a gain of like, I'm so proud of myself that I'm talking to more people. And I know that these conversations will lead, and I'm getting better at the skill, right? You can quickly turn that over. So, all right, let's get into like a few minutes of tactical, and then I want to open it up for some conversation. So again, I sent this out. Hopefully you probably don't have this version. I did tweak it. I'm always tweaking because I'm seeing what's working for me. But if you look at this bucket for bucks, you'll see that it starts off with some marketing first. And then it goes into your proactive reach outs. And those proactive reach outs are for product and business. As we talked about earlier, I'm just going to really challenge you to do the prospecting first. If you find that your day gets away from you and you're doing marketing, and then all of a sudden it took you an hour to do a reel. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with, like, as you're learning stuff, there is a learning curve. And I say that from experience, but I have time. This is what I do full time. So if you are only able to do this business for like 60 minutes a day and it takes you an hour to do a reel, it's going to slow your business down, right? So that learning curve might need to be done at night, where it's just extra time that you're investing in your business, right? But like whatever your time is that you're set for this, I want to make sure it's on the high payoff activities. So you can just sort of see, we've talked about the activities that I want you to pick your number on. And the way that this, if you like technology, the way that this goes, because it's just an simple Excel spreadsheet, you can even fill it in. Like I'm a paper girl, so I do print this out every week. And I like to look at it, and I just put a check mark. I don't use this to, and what you could do if you don't have a CRM, a customer relationship management software that allows you to do follow-ups and keep track of who you're talking to, who your hub prospects are. If I'm in a season in my business where there's definitely people I do not want to lose focus of, I just put them right on the bottom of here. Like they just become my hot list, becomes something I see every day. And then like from week to week, I'll be like, okay, these 3 people purchased, or this one is joined. Okay, they don't go on the next week, right? Because they're in my, I have another system for that. But this will really just help you, and it will help your team, especially for those people that you might, I know there's a lot of leaders on, so, and we'll be listening to this, especially if you have teammates that are really struggling with being productive with their 30 minutes a day. I would like just condense this down for them and just say, be like, let's talk about how many people you're going to reach out today, how many people you're going to follow up with, and maybe getting like 1 piece of content out there. The last thing I'm going to leave you with, and then we'll open it up, is that I really want you to lean into this statistic, because it literally changed my business. And this is not even in network marketing. This is when I was in corporate. 80% of your sales, 80% of your yeses are going to come from the 5th plus touch. I think it's like 5, the 5th to 12th. It doesn't matter. It's just like, you got to get to at least 5. If you, and I have it written down somewhere. Again, I packed it. It's insane how it goes from the first touch percentage to the second touch to the third touch, the fourth touch. It's like, it's so small that for me, when I'm doing my reach outs and I'm like carving out that time to be like, okay, I want to follow up with people, like I kind of segment mine out where I'll get into a groove, and I'll talk about one more system too before we open it up. But I like to stay into like, I'll stay into like, I'm going to do some reach outs for the business opportunity. And then I'll get into my follow-ups and see, because I like to say like, well, what's in it for them right now? Okay, maybe there's a story I recently heard. Maybe there's a piece of education. Maybe there's new company updates, whatever it might be. And then I can just kind of cut paste in a really authentic way that's like meaningful to that person I'm sending it to. And then maybe I'll get into like the new reach outs. The new reach outs, by the way, a lot of times do come from my social media. So it might not be people that have like clicked the poll of the yes or the whatever, but they viewed it or they've hearted it, they're getting a message. And I think you all have a doc that I sent out, and if I didn't, I'll share that with you next. But I want to make sure I finish that train of thought. It came and went. Sometimes happens as you get into perimenopause. So I'd love to open it up for any questions. Hopefully this was helpful for you to like really kind of hone in what your day is going to look like and how you can, get more consistency. My goal for you is that you keep that heat on your popcorn when you get in whatever the feeling is, frustrated, overwhelmed, any of those things, and you just don't touch your business for 2 or 3 days, just acknowledge that you're turning the heat off. And so then to get the heat, and then no popcorn's going to pop, right? That oil is not going to stay warm. It's going to cool off. And you're going to have to turn the heat back on and re-get that consistency in. And then the other thing that happens as you're getting consistent, do you get a whole big full pot of popcorn right away? No, you have one kernel that pops. That's somebody that says yes and orders. You turn your heat off, guess what? The heat goes cooler temperature. It's not going to continue to pop. But if you get that one pop and you keep the heat going, guess what then happens? 2 or 3 kernels pop. And then all of a sudden it's like pop, 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 like, right? It's just like it's overflowing. You're like, oftentimes I'm like, I gotta move the lid up. That's what I want for your business. I want your business to be where the lid has to be pop. You gotta move the lid up because there's so much popcorn popping. And I'll tell you what, that's a good overwhelm to be in. I think that's the kind of overwhelm, Lynette, that you were probably referring to that John was saying is right. Is you're in overwhelm because there's so much activity happening. I don't want you to be in overwhelm because of shiny penny objects or because you don't know what to do. So that was my goal of this session, is to just really help you hone in on what to do, hopefully help your teams get more efficient on the what to do. And yeah, I've got a couple more updates for you, but let's open this up for questions. Does anyone have anything they want to toss out?
Hey, you all, this is Ginger. I do have a question. First of all, Kim, great job. Love this. Love the buckets for bucks. I've seen so many different things like this, but for some reason this resonates with me. And one of them is where you have the space at the bottom to put the people that you've reached out that you remember, that you want to remember. Okay, my question is, okay, so you have week 1 with, the 5 people that you want to remember. You make another copy. So if somebody's ordered or become a distributor, you're going to follow up with them another way, but they're still a prospect. Do you move them to page 2?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of different systems out there that you can use. This is a really basic one, Ginger. That's probably a little bit more for the person that's just starting out. Like, I still write people's names down here because I visually want to see it, because then I make sure if there's something in the day, or if I want to touch them, like sometimes you guys with the follow-ups, and we'll talk about, like, we'll get into the meat of that for the next one, of like, how do you condense follow-ups, right? How do you condense the times that we can get the exposures? And because at the end of the day, it's all life timing of when we found their hot button or when the timing is right for them. So I want to make sure that you're in their inbox, or you're connecting with them when their timing is right. So what I use a CRM called Teamsy. It just helps me to like document when I want to connect with someone next. I can tag them in keyword search like that. Just like, I talk to a lot of people, so that just works for me. This system will work if you're, how that would flow, Ginger, is that like, so if you talk to like 20 people, right? But I wouldn't write all 20 people's name on the bottom. If 5 of them came back and said, sure, Kim, send me a video, those are the people that I'm going to write their names down. Like, if I've been in a dance with someone, so to speak, and like they've at some point showed some sort of interest, and this is the second or third or fourth touch, if you don't have a CRM system that you're using, yes, absolutely write them down, or figure out a way that you can remember to touch them again in a week to 2 weeks, right? With the next update, you don't want those people falling through the crack. So you could use the bottom of this sheet to like take your warm people into the next week. But if you're, if you are talking to a decent amount of people, I would use maybe a notebook if you're a paper person that has like follow-ups, and so that anyone that you touch like gets on a piece of paper to follow up, and like then you can figure out how you want to do that. If it's like a follow-up in early October, late October, early November, like you can kind of put them in buckets so that when you, because here's the thing with systems, you want to make sure that they help you be more efficient with your time. Remember we talked about time management. Like what I want for you is that you come to your desk or you come to your phone or however you do your business and you have an hour and you're super productive from the minute you sit down. And I'm able to do that because of Teamsy and because of my bucket for buck sheets. Because what happens, you guys, and again, I know there's a lot of people, a lot of you listening and tuning in that have teams. What happens with most people that are a little more junior in their skill level or just starting out or relaunching is that they sit down at their desk and they're super motivated and excited to touch their business and they have no idea where to start. And that's where the overwhelm comes into, because they're just like names over here, names are in the head. And they're like, who did I talk to? Or they've got to go back into their DMs and figure out who's in the loop and stuff. So when you find systems of how you can keep track of people, you can be like, okay, who do I need to follow? Like I can go in right now when I start my prospecting and go into my Teamsy and I know exactly who I need to follow up today. Because they're all dated for today, right? And I usually, it depends, like there's seasons where I'll have more than others depending on the, what's going on. And if I don't have a lot of prospects for the day, like if I don't have 20 people that I'm supposed to follow up with today, guess what I'm doing? Really filling the bucket with new, because that's telling me I'm not in enough conversations, because my follow-ups are people that are interested, have shown some level of interest. If I don't have a lot of those follow-ups, I know that my new business needs to like ramp up. So that's where these analytics can really help you drive your business versus being in reactionary mode of like, where's my time supposed to go to? And I know some of you have a big goals to grow your teams. And if that's the case, then look at that second part of the bucket and just make sure that a lot of your content is going to problems that you're solving, benefits you're adding for joining your opportunity, partnering with you, right? People are going to be joining you. And that a lot of your follow-ups are around that as well. Any other questions?
Kim, I don't think I got that file in my email. I
The
didn't.
bucket for buck one?
Yeah, the bucket for buckets.
I'll make sure that I actually updated it, Lori, since
Okay.
I've done, since I have sent it. So if you don't have this version,
Yeah.
then just email. This would be super helpful. If you don't have this version, email me back and just
Okay.
like resend, like for any of you that are on, or if you're catching the recording, because you're in I've got you all in the thing that's tricky for me is if I send it through MailChimp, that's my email server, I can't attach files. Like I can't attach a document. I have to like do it through a file. Like it's just, that's where my technology is not so savvy yet. So I'm working on it. So just shoot me an email, Lori. I'll make sure you have the updated version. And again, then you can put if you like to do some personal development time or whatever you make this be to something that you're going to like really get excited about and stick to. Awesome. Any other questions? Awesome. So here's what I want to give you a couple more updates. So one is I've inked in the next session, because if I don't, then it'll November will come and go. It's going to be November 15th at noon Eastern. And that one we're going to get a lot more into the reach out, what do you say, like how do you construct a really, authentic, good, effective reach out, and then the whole follow-up flow. Because that's where, again, when you can get super comfortable, and I know that there's a lot of technology out there for boards and there's verbiage docs and all that. Those are great and those are good. But I want you to get so strong in these types of skills that if you met somebody in the grocery store or on the soccer field or in and wherever your life takes you, that you don't have to like look at your phone for a script, that you can just like speak human and feel super, super authentic in how you share what you have to offer. So that's November 15th. The other thing that I want to offer up is that I know I'm already working with some of you. So this it's, this wouldn't pertain to you, but if I'm not currently working with you and you like what you heard today, and you might want to see what coaching with me looks like, I am offering out 15-minute one-on-one sessions. And when you sign up for one of those two, you're going to get my full ebook, my bucket for books. So that's a free 15-minute session for me. If you left this and you're like, oh, I could really use some really focused help on like my particular business or where I'm at, that'll all be in a follow-up email that you can just shoot me back a message and we'll make sure we get a time on the calendar. So thank you so much for being with us. And if you're catching the recording again, I would love to hear from you. So I'm going to stop the recording there.